Well, hey Eddie, it's almost top of the hour. We've got some gallery folks coming in. Let's jump over to some gallery and see what people have been turning this week.
Yeah, because boy, I tell you what, if what I saw in today's newsletter is a sample of what we're going to see in gallery, hold on to that
Oh,
hat,
I know,
folks,
right?
because here it comes. Here it comes.
All right, let's go to Mr. Johnson. Hey Howard,
Good evening. How's everybody?
doing good.
Good, Howard. How are
Okay.
you?
This is what I come up with.
And that's what I was just talking about.
It,
My.
Goodness.
hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'm going to try to get it to balance. I don't know if I can, but anyway, there it is. Its top is pear. This is cherry, and what I've done is I inked it with black ink, and then I put silver acrylic on it. And then I said, well, I should put a little bit blue iridescent on it. And I said, well, then let's just put a little bit of gold on it. I did that. And then I said, well, maybe a little bit of red. Let me cut this light.
Yeah, if you can kill that light, it won't wash it out so much.
There. Now, maybe. Now, here we go.
It still looks like bronze.
That's a little bit better. So, anywho, and it's all been carved up. So, I think it turned out pretty good myself. I kind of
Yeah.
like it.
It did.
So,
It looks like a sculpture. It came out great.
yeah.
It is beautiful.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
I had one lady send me a deal on Facebook. Said, "Hey, is that metal?" No.
So it looked
But
like.
anyway,
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys letting me show it. You know, I'm really
Yeah, you bet.
kind of proud of it. You know, so
That's
It
great.
should
David.
be.
How did you make the base? Well,
excuse me.
how did you make the base? I can't see the
But what?
the base.
How did you make the base? How'd you make the base?
Well, I turned it to shape with like I said, cherry, and then I hollowed it out. Well, let's just do it this way. And then I took a Forstner bit and I drilled a hole through the center of it. And then I just hollowed out this side and I hollowed out this side. And then I just got out my carving tools and went to work.
Really pretty.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of carving.
Yeah.
We're so proud of this. We put it on the front page of this week's newspaper. Newsletter.
I'll send pictures in. But thing is,
I
though,
think
if
you
you'll
did, Howie.
notice,
Oh, it's there, Dewey. It's on the front
It's already
page of the
there.
newsletter.
okay, if you notice, I did have 7 legs on this, but now I've only got 5. That's because 2 of them broke off. And I had to work around it. And same thing over here. 2 of them broke off. But anyway, it works. And it turned out looking pretty good, I think. So
Really pretty.
anyway, all
Nice
right.
job.
That's all I
Very
got,
nice.
guys.
Looks
Okay.
good.
All right. Let's go with
Awesome.
Mr. Burt.
Oh my God, you're gonna make me follow that? So I turned this little jewel last week and I wasn't terribly happy with all of the bug holes. So, I didn't like the look of the bug dew in them. So I got my Dremel with a small carbide burr and I cleaned them all out. And then I decided I still didn't like it. So it was either burn it or have some fun with it. So I decided to have some fun and I turned the base and I've been wanting to make a fluting jig for some time. So I made a fluting jig for one of my handheld routers, or trim router. And so you can see all the jewels are lined up nice and straight. And I painted it with some gold and some silver acrylic paint and shot it with clear lacquer. And I call it the Holy Grail with an
The
E.
Holy Grail. I watched your video on that, Billy. It was good.
So it's finished it with spray lacquer as always, because I thought it needed to be shiny. But I'm toying with the idea of cutting this off and putting a little bigger chalice. Oh, it's 3-sided too. and you lost me.
Oh, we got
I'm
you.
not,
I see you.
I ain't highlighted no more.
There you are, Billy.
There you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, we got you.
All right. Well, I'm not on my screen.
Nah,
So
keep
it's,
popping up.
it's three-sided. I used my duck's chuck and turned it. I lost one of the points a little bit, but you can still see it's three distinct sides and you can feel it for sure. The other thing I have is I did some work. I rough turned this Calabash Bowl last night for the club up in Austin. And I went ahead and did some finish work on it, sanded it all up, and got one coat of Hampshire Sheen Danish oil in it. I still have to put the butterflies and cut the butterflies in it. I had one relatively large crack, as you can see, and I didn't like that, and I didn't just want to put butterflies on it. So I filled those with Starbond Mother of Pearl. But I will put butterflies on all of the rest, and I'm actually fairly happy with how it came out. This is a piece of Texas persimmon,
Cool.
and this stuff is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. The one
But-
side of it where you can see the big
Pardon?
round, right there where your hand is, that part there. Yeah, right there. It looks like a buckeye.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Don't get her started, please.
Hey, Billy, was that the one from the other night?
Pardon?
Was that the one from Tuesday night?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
This-
Good job. It looks,
Yeah, man.
it looks super
Yeah,
now.
this is the one I did last night.
That one was
I
a
just-
struggle.
It was a
It's really
struggle.
hard.
It
Yeah.
was a bit of a struggle. I wasn't really happy with my performance, but they enjoyed it. So, or at least they told me they
Oh,
did. So,
Thank you. Thank you so much, Billy. That was a good job.
Hey,
Thank you.
does Texas persimmon crack as bad as Oklahoma persimmon?
I'm- I can only guess. I'm gonna say yes. I mean, you can see all the cracks in it,
Yeah.
and some of those cracks weren't there when I started, and this wasn't wet. It was quite dry. In fact, probably 12%. So that's all I got tonight.
I made
All right,
tomato,
right on, Billy.
I made tomato steaks with the last persimmon I got from North Carolina. Worked great.
All right, we got Mr. Kingsley. Shaking
Wow.
Dave.
Well, I have something interesting. Alright. You still looking for me?
No, I see
We
you.
got you.
Oh, I don't see me. Okay.
Yeah, I was having that problem. Zoom is acting up.
But,
Yeah, it sure
got a
is.
really nice looking, another one of those oak things, little bowl, I can't call it a box. But I was really proud. I got the top on. I finally made a finial that I liked. I got interrupted. Came out the next day, finished up the top. Parted it off. And then I realized I forgot to hollow it.
Oops.
You could just put that right back in the chuck and hollow it though.
Well,
Put
how?
a little bit of foam on the outside or something, or tape or something. And
Yeah, I
just put it
figured,
right back.
that's what I've got some some of those Reachy jaws. I was hoping I
There
could
you
tape
go.
it up and do that, but
Make a little
Oh,
tenon on the, make a little tenon on the
Got
end,
it.
quarter
You
inch
already got
tenon.
a tenon.
There you go.
tenon.
Wait,
what,
wait,
this way?
who says how
Yeah.
deep it's gotta be?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
It's a nice
But-
ring box.
Yeah. Yeah, just cut a tenon on the bottom, Dave.
I just put a,
Well, and I don't like,
put a piece
I
of
don't
velvet
like
there.
that.
on the bottom. Put a new tenon on the
And I don't
bottom
like-
and giddy up.
and I don't like deep boxes anyway. I'd rather have them shallow so you can reach the stuff that's inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
So,
ring box,
yeah, I
for-
mean,
a ring
That's
box
true.
for somebody who's single.
Yeah,
But
put some
I love the
filter on it.
figure and stuff in
Right.
it that I
Don't show
didn't know
that
was
figure to
there.
Brenda. She'll see something in it.
Or
you could always
Okay.
you could always put a glue block on the bottom of it too.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Absolutely.
I like that idea.
or you can take another piece of wood and then copy that shape and be done with it in half the time.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't have such a nice grain match. And I'd lose this. I love this little spot right here.
But
Yeah.
you never know what the next piece of wood's gonna look like.
Yeah. Well, I hate to sacrifice this. This is a piece, this is some of that oak that was from some local famous trees. So
Wow. I don't know what's going
I'm
on.
hoping to get a
Might have
premium
to-
with that. Yeah. I'll figure it out. But I like some of the ideas I just heard. But in a couple of weeks, I'll show it to you. Because next week, I won't be in the shop at all. We're going on a little bit of a vacation.
Oh, enjoy.
But that's it. Yep. Have a great one.
Careful.
I'll be in Gatlinburg.
Yahoo.
All right, let's go to Brenda. Hey, Brenda.
Hi, guys. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
All right.
sometimes.
Because of
Spotlight
last
ain't-
week.
Spotlight ain't working very good tonight. It keeps kicking people out.
Yeah. Can you see me now?
What a
Yes.
pain in the ass.
Okay. So because of the meeting last week, the using the Dremel and the carving, I had to make a tea light, do some carving. So it's got a tea light in it. Then I tried to do something with on the bottom with the little saw cutter.
Nice.
Looks good,
That looks
Brenda.
like fun. Looks like
Looks
fun.
good.
Yeah. And this is what I used. I used these little tools here. Open them up. There we go. Used a little round one.
Yep,
I
I
think
have-
use.
I have two of that same pack.
Do you
Use this
find those
one.
are a little, do you find those that those are a little aggressive?
I don't.
No,
Okay.
no.
What kind of a machine do you put that on?
What?
What do you use that with a Dremel, or it looks like that shaft is thicker than they
No,
think?
it's
No,
a,
it's-
it's
it's
a
1/8.
Dremel shape.
No, it's,
Is it?
It's
Okay.
1/8.
yeah. I got the Dremel extension, the wand
The
that,
flex shaft.
Right, makes a
yeah,
big difference.
that Matt had showed us before. Yeah, I like that thing. So that's what I use. So I'm waiting to find out how to finish it tonight with the dry brushing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bring
you
it
go.
closer, bring it closer to the camera. Bring it closer.
There you go.
There you go. Yes.
Nice.
I like that top a lot.
It looks great.
It really does. Yeah, Matt,
was
I
wood,
found
Brenda?
if you turn the speed down on your Dremel, they're not nearly as grabby.
Yep.
All right, cool.
yeah, I did have that did work when I turned it down, yes.
I tend to turn things up, but that's me.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Right on, Brenda.
Really
Looks
nice.
good.
Look forward to seeing the completed one.
Me too.
All right, let's go to our fearless. Let's go to our fearless editor. Hey, Joaquin. Great job on the newsletter, by the way.
Yeah.
You're muted. You're muted. You are muted. Damn computers.
He's got to pick a different mic. That's
Can
the
you hear me
issue.
now?
There you
Yes.
go.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, I was
No,
Plug it
you're
in.
cutting out.
I was streaming live.
Plug it in. It's not plugged in all the way. It's scratching.
It's my computer mic.
I was live streaming this weekend and I had the input switched to my mixing board. So this is Spalted Elm. And this was in the recovery corner, and I forgot that this ring, which is red Mally Burl, that's actually a piece from a failed piece that was saved from a failed piece. I made a little collar for this little vessel, and then I didn't have enough red Mally to make a lid, but I had this red gum, and you can see the crease right there.
Yeah.
That was an inclusion. I lost 2/3 of the finial, just came off. I found it and salvaged it with some CA and African blackwood shavings. So I was able to salvage the whole piece. And this is actually going to a couple. It's going to hold their wedding rings. They're getting married at the event I'm vending this weekend. So this is in conjunction with a ring maker who turns his rings, but he uses a drill. So I got to talk to him about coming over to the shop and putting him on a lathe. This is stabilized spalted tamarind.
Oh, wow.
And hang on. Well, it's got a good suction fit, but you can't hear it pop. It's a soft suction fit. But there's another little ring box that I'm doing a collaboration with the ring maker, and I was able to get some pretty good grain match here.
Yeah,
which I'm pretty proud of.
Sweet.
Munchy quit. This is the Coolabah Burl box, and that one pops.
Nice pop.
That one pops. That's red Coolabah Burl. And then I didn't get to show these last week, but I was turning these last week. So I want to show you guys these real quick, or at least a couple of them. And I'll talk about something real quick. Mackenzie Penworks has a subscription service. I don't pay for their subscription service, but they robbed the two fountain pen kits out of their subscription service. So I got the box that they send their pens with now, if you're a subscriber. And these are really nice little boxes. So I thought that was really cool. So if you use Mackenzie Penworks pens, if you subscribe, you get boxes, which is pretty neat. But these are both Desire fountain pens. And Joe Gibson, who's a member, and he's in the meeting tonight, he made the blanks. And his segmented blanks are really, really, really.
Those are really nice.
So those two. Hang on, I gotta keep the. I've got lists of what all the little woods are that he put on them. And then these are also Desires, and Penn State Industries had sale on these, which are really nice little pen boxes. This one's walnut primarily. I really like this blank a lot, Joe. That is a really, really good blank.
Yeah, those are very reminiscent of the GC Brothers blanks.
Okay, I'm not familiar with them, but I turned Joe on to Gabriel Castro, which is my half brother's name, but he's not my half brother. And he does fabulous segmented blanks. And Joe watched his videos and took off running. This is another one.
Yeah, Gabe does good work.
And one cool thing is Joe used sassafras in most of these pens as one of the light accent woods. And I'd never turned sassafras before. And my shop smelled amazing. And that's the last one. So Joe saved me a lot of time with these blanks. I've really appreciated it because it takes like Jim said, it takes a good long afternoon to cut and glue up those blanks. So that's all I've got. Oh, tips and tricks. June 5th is tips and tricks. The next newsletter is also going to be tips and tricks. I've got a full walkthrough of a technique in that already laid out. I've got one tip and two more ready to go into it, but you can send me your tips and tricks with photos and they'll go in the newsletter. So please email those tips and tricks to editor@worldwidewoodturners.org.
Yep. And I'm still looking for folks to sign up for tips and tricks as well.
Really
All right,
nice
let's go to
pieces,
Mr. Dawson.
JJ.
Say again, Billy?
I said really nice pieces, JJ.
Yeah.
Thank you, Billy.
Yeah, they were.
And by the way, Billy sent me an email with the whole HOLEY Grail. And I'm thinking, why on earth did he spell it that way? Spell it that way. He knows, but wait a minute. And then I opened the picture.
Right? Yeah, YouTube was like that too. All right, good stuff. Thanks, JJ. All right, let's go back to Mr. Dawson.
I have to follow that. My
Yeah, you
goodness.
do.
Yep.
I didn't do much this week. I've been under the weather this week. Saturday I made, this was spalted elm. I'm not finished. This is not supposed to go. This is just something just to show tonight. I want to put threads in here. I'm not real good at it. So most of the week I've been practicing making them, and I guess just like just takes practice. So that's what I'll be doing for a while. I had a hole in here. It's hollow. It's supposed to be a canteen. It's supposed to be a canteen. It does hold some water, and I want to put a screw lid on it, and we're just gonna go from there. But I just thought it was nice. I still have
that shape, Al. That's great.
All right,
shape.
man. Have a good one. I'll see you mañana.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, what are the black thingies there on each side?
It's a two pieces of maple. I got a hole in here, and I kept it so that I hollowed it out, and then I put a tenon on here. I hollowed it out here. I kept the same size. I'd be able to turn it around and put it back on my jaws and open it up to hold it. And it's just a piece of maple, and I just painted it. That's all I did.
Okay, cool. Very nice, Al.
I've got to learn more of coloring with
That looks good.
what's that? Yeah. Yep. That's all I have. Like I said, I've been playing around, teaching myself how to chase threads. And that's basically about it.
Looks like you're getting there quickly.
It takes, I'll tell you what, Alan Batty? I watched him a couple times, and the best thing that I get out of it is get yourself a bunch of wood, lock yourself in your shop, don't come out for about a month, and after that you might know how to do it. So
Good job, Al.
Practice,
Good job.
practice. But anyway, thank you so much. I hope everybody has a good evening.
I'll go in after a while, Al, and get one of my canteens and show you. I've got a full-on process on how to do. I do them.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Than others. So, yeah, they're quite a hit with the bourbon and whiskey and Scotch drinkers. So, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
So,
thank you for sharing. All right, let's go to Miss Ruby. There she is.
Queen Ruby.
There. I thought Doug was before me.
Doesn't matter.
My neighbor came over with a stack of 4-inch cork discs and asked if I could make some coasters for her. So I took them and I turned some walnut and embedded the cork into the walnut so that she could put them on a table. So they end up about 6 inches in diameter, and they'll pretty well hold any cup that she has in her in the house. So she had 4 extras, so I made myself 4.
I'll buy them.
That's
Nice,
all.
Ruby.
Those are nice.
Those are beautiful.
Very
Is
nice.
that it for you, Ruby?
That's it for me.
All right, right on. Thank you for sharing. All right, let's go to Mr. Miller.
Okay. Pretty easy for me. Most of you have seen what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. Did we get switched over? There it is.
I got you.
Okay. I'll show you all 5 of these real quick. There's 17 total, but 5 of them are cedar. These were started off from about a 5/4 board of cedar. We cut up what we could that was decent. One end of it was terrible. In fact, this was a bad spot right here. But some of them had these lovely knots running through them, as cedar tends to do. Has that strange sapwood in the center of the piece. That's one. There's a second one with a burn line around just to give it a bit of of interest. All of these were done the same way. I started off with a glue block. I used Joaquin's little trick. I have a, let me show it to you right here. I used this cherry glue block on these 5 plates plus another 10, I guess, or maybe not quite 10, 7 or 8. Anyway, glued that on and was then able to turn the back, give myself just a little bit of a recess and shape the back end. And then I could put that on the chuck in that recess and knock that off. Used just a straight chisel, a bench chisel, knock that glue block right off of there. Then I'd take the glue block over and sand it on the disc sander real quick before I used it again. But it worked a treat. I used medium CA glue on the plate on the blank and used the accelerator on the cherry, and it worked a treat. It was fantastic. Broke right off every single time, and every one of them have the same recess, same 3 lines with my logo, or not my logo, my maker's mark. And then yesterday, Ruby had been asking me about seeing the Dux Chuck in action, and so we turned a little offset bowl using the Dux Chuck. That idea came from Billy, and unlike Billy, my chucks, I had a hard time yesterday, but we got it done. We got it done, and that left me a nice center. You know, I had a 10 in here. It worked great. I was able to turn this around and put it in the cold jaws and take that out with no trouble whatsoever. But so much opportunity for the offset bowls. You have that nice wide rim, lots of things that can be done there. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Texture it, paint it, all kinds of painting, texture and black it out, and then use the Joe Sonia paints or the chameleon powders, or it goes on and on and on. So many things to do. So anyway, we got that done, and it was a blast. So that's what I've been working on for the last couple of weeks, was the plates, and then this little walnut bowl yesterday. So
watch the video. You'll see Doug's flying bowl.
Yeah, this thing
Oh, you made
sprouted
some
wings 2 or
birdwood?
3.
made
It
some
sprouted
birdwood?
wings 2 or 3 times.
It only flew 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
One time,
when you
one time
watch it, make sure you notice how he handled that situation like a pro.
One time, my other chuck that I started using, it broke right here. At about, I don't know, about 800 RPMs or something. It broke right across there, and it went flying at that point. So it was a lot of fun. We had a good time yesterday.
Yeah, to have a more stable chuck, you need to cut it all the way through and use pins.
Yeah.
That's why. Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, let's go to Mr. Duxbury.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Dux, Chuck.
Yeah,
Hey, I gave you a lot of credit yesterday too, Mr. Jim.
you did. Okay.
good.
I surely
That's
did.
good.
But I need it. No, I've been using that thing for all kinds of stuff. With eye surgery, I can't be in the dust for another week or so. And my wife keeps watching. So anyway, I made this the other day. This is a bud vase turned on two centers.
That's beautiful.
That's gorgeous, Jim.
My God.
Very
It
nice,
was,
Jim.
it was supposed to come out a heart shape, which came close.
It's close.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, that's one of them, and we had an eclipse a while ago, and we didn't get in it, but I thought I did an eclipse trade.
I like,
That's nice.
This, so it's like different color handle on one side and the other side.
Cool.
that's beautiful.
Look at that.
That's
Jim,
really
you always do
creative, Jim.
fabulous work.
Thank
Looks
you.
like you're making emblems for Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
Well, it doesn't look like this on the lathe. That looks kind of dangerous, but on the lathe, this continues from here over to about here. And you put the screws in this waist area, put it in close to the bowl itself or the tray itself, and turn the handle and the inside of this, and then move the screws to the outside over here where it's going to get cut off anyway, and turn the middle of this. So I do a lot of that moving screws around. It really works great when you get them all. If you only miss one, you know right away. Anyway, that's it.
All right, thanks, Jim.
That's awesome.
That's beautiful, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, let's see, who's the next likely contestant? Let's see if Don's got his internet issues fixed. So he just popped back in again. Don, you're up.
Hello.
Let's hurry up before you get bumped
Okay.
out again.
Hang on just a second.
Come on now.
Okay.
There we go.
I made a black walnut bowl. And let's see, I've got a picture in the middle there I don't want. There we go. We could even light it up. Honest, we can. There we go.
There we go. Let there be light.
Nice.
Very
Yes.
nice. Very nice.
What kind of wood
Okay.
is that?
It's black walnut, and what it is that it had to be. It was going to be about a 6 to 8 inch bowl if I didn't keep the sapwood and the bark inclusions.
Mhm.
I like it that way.
I know
Yeah, I
it's
do too.
beautiful,
It gives a great
Wood makes,
character.
walnut.
Yeah, it does. That's
And-
gorgeous.
and then there was a void right there that I filled with resin and some wood chips, but it's just a black hole.
If you put
Fine.
that on your counter, you could have 3 different bowls, depending on which way it's oriented.
Yes, but it's.
Mhm.
I was very proud of it. It's probably the best thing I've turned yet.
Nice.
Looks
Nice
good.
job, Don.
That's really nice,
Looks
Don.
like a photo belongs in the newsletter.
But yeah, I
Definitely a
Oh,
piece
yeah,
to
I
be
can't-
proud of.
I can't keep on the meeting, so how am I going to manage to get a picture sent to the?
Well, you
The
can
newsletter.
I mean, it's just simple email, right? You've been doing email for how many years now?
Yeah, but it's iffy.
Yep,
But
okay.
so I'm going to be
Yeah.
at the show and the symposium, so I hope to see lots of people. But
Yeah,
if I
Scott
don't-
Hampton will be there on the camera. He's doing the videographing for the AEW folks. Beyond that, I'm not sure of other members that are going.
it's never in my neck of the woods till just now.
Yeah. Well, enjoy.
Oh, I will. It's one of those that, beyond looking at pictures on the internet of tools and tooling, it's just few and far between. So this is my one instance to actually see stuff.
You're
There you
gonna
go.
love it. You're gonna love it. I was at the last one in Portland and it's amazing. Bring lots of money.
I I'm bringing the wife, so she's the accountant. She'll say,
Well, she's
not
the one
this
with the
time.
money. Well, she's the one with the money.
But honey,
Can't
it's
go
on
without
sale.
spending money. So,
But honey, it's on sale.
oh,
There are discounts.
Sandy is there. Sandy from the group, she's there. She's going to be with D-Way. Stop
Okay.
by and see her. Stop by and
Okay.
see her. So,
But
yeah, have a good time.
so if I don't see you, I'll miss you.
All right, we'll take pictures and post.
Oh, you bet.
All right, thanks, Don.
All right.
All right, let's go to Sheila. What you got, Sheila?
Hi. Okay, I did unmute, but it's still telling me to. So
No, we got you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That is gorgeous.
You killed
it's
the light.
broken skateboards
Wow.
that a local skate shop collects for me. And it's kind of got a step inside. There was a layer of just regular plywood there, and then ash pieces on the bottom and ash segments on the top.
Very
Very cool.
creative.
I've just got one coat of tung oil on there now, and I don't know if I'm going to do another coat or do anything else. Not sure.
Beautiful.
That's really pretty.
Very
Good
nice.
job, Sheila.
And that's all I did this week.
That's all you got?
Yep.
So on tips and tricks, are you going to explain your tip that you shared on the group page today?
Oh, about the sound and video
Yeah.
on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I guess when you hit the share, there's
Well, you don't
another-
have to do it now, but you know, you can work on your presentation, but you know, do you feel like doing it on June 5th? Why not? Huh? Sure.
You could try.
Yes, you're on. All right. I'm gonna put you down then.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Sheila.
You're welcome.
All right, let's go to Mr. Gary. Gary B.
Okay, you got me?
I'm working on it.
Okay,
Hey, Spotlight, I got you now.
okay. The past month, I've been helping out a friend. His wife puts together packages for kids that don't get presents for Christmas or whatnot. So I turned 200 cars and 45 spin tops. And I got tired of turning cars and spin tops. So I ended up, this is an example of what our cars look like. This is a little bit smaller. I did not turn this one. John Solberg turned this. Mine are a little bit bigger, but this is, you know, we put the wheels on them and it's all wood, and the kids love them. So that's the cars. Well, I got tired of turning cars and tops. So I went ahead and I found a piece of walnut. It was just hanging around out in the garage. And as you can see, I like including breaks, holes, and whatnot. I just think it gives the wood all kinds of class and character. So I went ahead. This thing is 11 inches wide by 4.5 inches high. There's the back side. I'm known for having very thick bottoms, and I'm always scared to death that I'm going to go through. Well, I got this one down to 3/8, which I think is fabulous. I mean, I know other people put a 1/8 inch and they do great, but I think 3/8 for me is fabulous. But anyhow, that was basically because I got tired of turning other stuff. And Ruby, I love when you come on and you show something, because everything in the background with what you're showing, but everything on the background on the walls, you know, you can put it all in a box and send it all to me because it's all beautiful. The cars, no, we leave the cars just blank. 5 minutes after a kid gets this car and starts playing with it, it's going to be all scuffed up anyhow. These are all made out of 2x4s, and you turn the 2x4 cut it in half, and you've already drilled holes in it, and so this is half of a 2x4.
I love it. Love it.
The kids, when we go to someplace and we hand these out, give them to kids, you know, you'll see them just playing on the sidewalk, just running them up and down railings. The kids love them.
Visually moved rather than stretched.
Cool, Gary. Really nice
Okay.
walnut piece.
Thank you. That's it.
Great job. All right, let's go to Mr. Craig here. Can we get that hot mic muted?
Hey, how y'all doing? I haven't been around for show and tell lately, but so I've been busy this month. A couple of these I might have actually shown a few weeks ago. I can't remember, but they've got more coats of tung oil on them anyway. This was actually 2 boards where I cut a ring out of one board, used that for the bottom, put the other board, and then I put the outer ring on the top and then turned it as one piece.
Beautiful.
Cool.
And I'm now a member of the Bowl Out of a Board.
Sweet.
Looks good.
My intention was to make sure, because I had to do this on a bandsaw, so I had to cut. And my intention was to make sure that I don't have the cuts lined up. And it turns out a lot of the grains ended up kind of matching up through the throughout. But
nice.
Looks good.
And this one I think I may have shown before. It's just a nice little dish, about 11 1/4 inches.
Nice.
And these are all the that old barn that I've been working out of. And instead of doing a dish that looks like a plate, I decided to play with some beads.
Nice.
And it's beaded top and bottom. And even though it's some old pine and everything, I love the grain. And this was more, I guess, a serving dish that I made out of one of the pieces. Got I hate doing the same thing twice. So
Craig, back on your you said the one that you are a member of a bowl from a board. You said you cut it on the bandsaw?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna use my scroll saw, but the board was too thick. I couldn't get the angle enough and everything, so. Actually, when I get all the pictures together, I made my wife's urn. And I had to do the same thing. I went ahead and instead of eating up all the wood on the inside, I went ahead and I cut the majority of the wood out, then I joined the boards together, and I'll share later. And this was my spalted oak that I'm using.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh,
Pretty piece of wood.
That's really pretty.
I love the spalting in it. I mean, there's so many, and this also, what do you call it with two board or two, a Y? Crotch. There's actually a crotch. There's board or one log here. There's a log there. And there's a branch that was coming in on this side here.
Nice.
That's gorgeous.
Thank you much. And I've got to put some more tung oil on it yet, but like I told you the last time, I'm really enjoying working with tung oil.
When y'all put tung oil, do you put sanding sealer on first, or do you just go with straight tung oil?
I've been going straight tung oil. I've been thinking about trying some sanding sealer so it wouldn't in some of the pucky areas.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't soak so deep, but I think Dane told me something last time.
Yeah, go ahead,
Gary, I wrote down my process and it's in the newsletter. I think it's in volume 6 or volume 7 of the newsletter. Step-by-step process of what I do for the tung oil finish.
Okay. I'll take a look and find it. Thank you.
And we've got multiple videos on the YouTube channel of me talking about it, what I do. So just to
I'll
spare
look.
some time, I don't want to go into it now, but I mean, it's right there in print. All you got to do is look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Craig, I told you that as well back in April.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Actually, I did
neither
go
here
look
nor there.
yours.
Yeah, I know you didn't.
Yeah. All right, but
All
that's all
good.
I got
All good.
for this month so far.
Yeah, thanks,
All right,
Todd, for
right
putting
on.
that in the chat.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's swing back to Captain Eddie and see what he thinks about all this gallery, and then we'll go to Safety Sue, and then we'll get started with our demos for the evening.
Well, I
Captain
tell
Eddie,
you what, gallery
it's
gallery
really
is,
great to have you back.
oh man, look, it's great. This is fantastic. And I tell you what, folks, when we do the newsletter, which is every other Wednesday, we publish newsletter. It's like a kid getting a new toy. It really is to me. I get up and go looking for the fresh newsletter. It shows me what you wood turners of the world are doing. And I had a guy come visit with me today. He was just walking by, stopped and visited for a little while. We were talking about the club and all. He knew I was involved with the former wood turning club, or formerly involved with the wood turning club. And we're talking about how clubs go and directions and everything. And I called up a copy of the newsletter and he says, wait, your club produces this newsletter? I said, yes, we do. Every other week, without fail. And it's just about like this. It's about 6 pages long. And it's all submitted by our turners, our members. And we don't charge anything. We don't make anything. It's free. And the way we have it set up is anybody, anywhere in the world at any time can take a copy and publish it just the way it is. Yeah, you can add it to your website. You can put it on your club's newsletter. You can email it to all your friends. It is the most available piece of wood turning news in the history of wood turning. It really is. And the guy said, but how can you do that? Right there. I was sitting there talking to him. I said, it'd be like you. It'd be just like you, folks. And tonight we're looking at all these pieces and all these members are popping up and they're showing us these things. And we're saying, I wish we could, wish we could, wish we could. There's no wishing we could. Wish we could happen 5 years ago when I sat down with a bunch of friends and said, I wish we could put this together. You did. Now, I wish you would jump on board with all your buddies and say, let's not miss out. I'd really like to see you. It's not, I don't want you to overload JJ, our editor, and send him stuff. I'd just like you to send him so much stuff. JJ is just like, oh my God, look at the stuff we have. And that's what we want, because we want JJ to pick through that and put the stuff together. And it's this thing where this week, we have an article by Dane about putting a piece together. It's a page-long article. We're looking for more work like that. We've had them from Heather and a few other members. It's good to see that. It's like Dane just talked about doing tongue oil, the processes. Okay, maybe you don't agree with that process. Maybe you think you got a better one. Guess what? We're liberal. We'll listen to you. If you got another way, a different way, what you may think is a better way, oddity or whatever. The first time I heard of doing a finish with CA, I was at SWAT. I love SWAT. I really do. I was at SWAT, and a guy named Alan Trout got up and did a demonstration. And there was 5 or 6 guys in the front row, and they're heckling him because it was going to use too much paper towel and waste too much material and do this and this and this. Folks, today we'd take them up and string them up for making fun of a CA finish.
Right.
That's just the way the world is flipped. So if you've got an idea, if you got a technique, if you got a secret or whatever, this is where you share it. And I'll bring that up because in 2 weeks, this is where you share it. That's right. Is it next week or is it in 2 weeks?
2
Dane?
weeks.
In 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, we open the bottle and dump it all out. That's right. This is where we do tips and tricks. And we do it about every 3 months. We get together and we ask you, what's in your secret bottle? What do you have? What you came up with? Can you knock our socks off? Can you tease us with a little something that you do? You know, Duxbury is probably going to be back in the shop by that time. And that's a different, to me, that would be such a fun event. We have Duxbury back in the shop. He's got his eyesight and he can see things good and clear. This is going to really scare you. Then we have Billy Burt on the other side. Now, I'm not going to say Billy can see anything clear, but you put those two guys together and it's like Mr. Peabody. You know what I'm talking about? You know, one of them has a thought and the other one magnifies it. And then the other one comes back and says, well, wait a minute, you didn't go far enough. Oh, wait, but you didn't do this. And that's what we're going to do in 2 weeks. Tips and tricks. And this is all by you. So don't sit back and say, I want to tune in and watch. I want to tune in and listen. I want to tune in and cheat. Tune in and participate. It's that simple. Where do you go? This whole thing was started by a whim. Yeah, what do you impress us? Yeah, I really wonder what's in those little brains. I mean, in those little brains. I really wonder what's in those heads that are coming up there. All right. And look, above all else, when we do the tips and tricks and we do show demonstrations here, we do stress one important factor in woodturning, and that is safety. We don't vary from it. We don't take a shortcut. We don't say, don't do this. It's rather, might not be too safe. We don't do that. No. We will not share with you something that might get you hurt or may hurt you. We give you all the warnings. And that's why each week we get together, we go to Tampa, Florida, and we talk to Safety Sue to see what's up. And that's where we'll be heading next. And then our demonstration for the evening, and we get more gallery later on. But Dane, you're taking us to Sue.
Yep, we are going to Sue. Safety Sue, talk to us, girl.
How you doing there, everybody? Okay.
Look at you.
Look at that.
Face shield talk.
Yes, it is. Now, this shield, a lot of medical personnel use for blood spatter. During COVID, they were very useful. If people would put these on if they couldn't do a face mask. But really, they're for painting. All paint is like liquid acrylic. It's liquid plastic. And if it hits our plastic glasses that you spent hundreds of dollars on, you're messed up. You're going to have to either get a new pair of glasses or work very diligently without scratching. This face shield is not a face shield that is for your lathe or any other machinery. In fact, during COVID, you could buy 2 of these like for $5. This isn't much. The ones you get over at Harbor Freight are not much better. You need to have one that is really OSHA approved. So a lot of us, and I'm not going to put this on because a lot of us already have these. They're
wow, that's clean.
Yeah, it is. It's a little scratched up, but I wipe it down so that no one can tell that I really have sawdust all over my shop. But anyways, Uvex makes these, and you don't have to be an Amazon woman to find out where the cheapest price is. You know, they can run from 39 to over $100, depending what store that you want to partake in. But these are great. A lot of us use them, and the screen, the shield itself is replaceable. Now, if this stuff is cracked up here, you want to get a brand new shield. Just don't get a new insert. Get a brand. They're not that expensive. Another one you can use is the Trend. And to be honest with you, I haven't used this one yet because my neighbor needs to come over and read the instructions because I can't see them. But yeah, this is a great face shield. And again, it's your protection. Remember, even with the face shields that are approved, your first defense is safety glasses. So that if your face shield gets cracked or even broken or knocked out, you still have safety around your eyes. And I know that Jim Duxbury is probably had cataract surgery, and he needs to protect his eyes even after the surgery is healed. So yeah, guys, just be careful of your face, your breathing. I got the Trend shield because I don't want anything dusty in my eyes, my nose, my mouth. And I do have safety glasses on, and I do wear hearing protection. So folks, be safe this week. Remember, face shields are good, not only for inside, but outside as well. And I want to see everybody next week. Be safe.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank
You're
you, Sue.
Love the hair.
Just one caveat on your Uvex. If you have an explosion and you have a piece come back and smack that Uvex shield, you need to replace it because all that dexterity is gone from that initial impact. And then the second impact is it's going to go through, it's going to break, shatter, and go right on through to your pretty face that somebody else loves more than you do.
Yep. Thanks
With
for
that, I'll be off my soapbox on that. So, all right, let's go to Mr. Harbor. There he is. You're muted.
Oh, no, I'm
now
not.
we got you.
Okay. Welcome to my humble painting studio.
Abode.
Also known as my bedroom. Okay, so tonight we're going to do a follow-up on last week's demo. This is the piece I did in the demo. This is what I've done to it. Okay, it's got gold leaf paint on the edges, which was sort of an experiment, but that's the carvings, and I dry brushed a little bit of red in the middle before I gold leafed it. So it was interesting. Okay, let's see here. Dry brush painting basics. This is my contact information. So almost any brush will work. Oops, let me go back here and do this. Softer, more rounded brushes seem to work best. Makeup brushes work really well. So if you've got female people or people using makeup in the house, score their used brushes, clean them, and you can use those. I have this recommended set I've got here on the right. I got it off of Amazon. It wasn't very expensive. It works great. This is what it looks like. There we go. I'm only using these two brushes, which are labeled 7 and 5. These other three, the two bigger ones and a smaller one, I've not used yet. Okay. But that's what that set looks like, and it's very soft. It works great.
I have stencil brushes and I have a bunch of other brushes. The stencil brushes don't work very well for this. Some of the softer brushes, like something like this, this works pretty good.
Oh no, Matt, we lost you.
He
Or is it
froze
me? Matt,
No,
you
he
froze.
He's frozen.
Okay, so down on the picture in the lower right corner, what's that?
You were froze, Matt, when you were trying to show your brush. I think your share screen is interfering with your regular video.
All right, well, I got an internet unstable message just a minute here, so maybe that's the issue. It seems to be better. Am I good now?
We don't have a video of you. We just got your
Yeah, but we can
brushes
hear
and
you.
supplies.
All right, well, I mean, I can do this and put me back up. It took me out, so I'm just showing
okay.
the
Right on.
document.
Right on.
So in the lower right corner is the base paints that I used. The Waverly paint on the left there is from Walmart. It's just basically a flat black thick acrylic paint. The gesso on the white is the gesso I used. I watered it down a little bit with water, and that worked great as a base paint also. Okay, so here some notes and stuff. It'd be useful to have a trash can within reach. I usually have a small glass of water to help clean things up. I make small throwaway paper towels. I cut up larger paper towels into small, like 2-inch by 2-inch squares. And I use little plastic pallets to mix, to put out and mix the paints. So this link is to the plastic pallets. I think you get a clump of 24 of them, which is way too much. So go with friends on them. And then there's the paints. So any questions on this so far?
No, good info, Matt.
Okay. So I'm going to switch to go back to this in a minute, but I'm basically going to talk about the techniques. And I want this screen on the presentation so that we have it. I'm also wearing an old shirt that I've painted on, so don't paint in nice clothes. So
duly noted.
All right, so this is the first 3 points here are the basic steps of how to dry brush. You gently dip the brush into the paint and you'll wipe it off. Then you use a paper or a paper towel. They also sell these paper palettes at like art stores. Those work great too. And you wipe off the paint. You keep wiping the paint until you can't really see any come off. Then and only then do you put the brush to the work. Okay, so the bottom line is you're building up little tiny amounts of paint slowly, softly, gently, a little bit at a time. Every time I get impatient, I make a mess. Don't do that. More paint can always be added to darken, lighten, or add color. All right. And you can darken paint by adding black. You can lighten it by adding white. And then you can also change ingredients, go from one paint, say red, to another paint, say a blue or a purple, by adding a little bits of paint to one, from one to the other. Okay, any questions on this so far?
No, I wish I would have known about, not wearing a good shirt when you're painting. I wish I would have known that a long time ago.
We always learn that the hard
does
way.
Billy.
And
So
sometimes
does
some of us
Billy.
need to be reminded. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tilt my camera down here and show you where I paint right here on, and here's my water, and here's my little squares of paper towel that I cut up. And I just basically fold them, and then cut until I got like little 2-inch squares. And I use these to clean up. And I make a lot of them because I always run out if I don't. So what I'm going to do, so tonight I turned and carved this piece earlier today. Okay, I got to come in here. Okay, so what this piece is just it's box elder, and it's a simple turned piece. And what I did is I followed the grain here, and I set like a ledge. So wherever the grain was, I made an indentation. And I don't know if y'all can grab a piece of paper in here. Can you see how I made the indentations, the little steps?
Yes.
Okay, so I did this on both sides. And then on one side, on this side, I just carved it up a little bit. And if you want to see, you know what, let me do this for a minute. Let me switch back to Zoom and do my share screen and share this. Share. Okay, so this is, whoops, this is what the piece looked like
initially.
Yeah, before I painted it. My computer is misbehaving. Hang on, guys. Well, any rate, stop
We can
share.
see
All right.
that part fine, Matt.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, I couldn't, which was bothering me. So, okay. So, but on one side of that, I carved the little divots, and the other side I carved sort of slants on it. So this side has got the slants, and this side has got the little divots. Okay. And then I came in with the black paint and painted it. All right. So my goal tonight is to use white, and I'm going to start with this green, which is just basic stencil paint from like Michael's or wherever, or Joann's probably is where I get this. And this is a hunter green. It's a fairly dark green. And I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to dry brush that over most of the textures. And then I'm going to add a little bit of white. And this is just Walmart white. And I'm going to add a little bit of white and lighten the paint a little bit to grow it, to make it lighter and do less. Okay, any questions about that so far?
No.
All right, so just shake up the paint. This is the little palettes that I've been using. They make bigger ones. I like the smaller ones. Frankly, I don't ever fill most of the divots. So, okay, so, and I'm going to use this brush because they're not very big. You know what? I'm going to use a smaller one because the textures aren't very big. So I get a little paint, I dip the tip of it in, I wipe it off, and I keep wiping. And I keep wiping until almost none of it comes off. You see that?
Yeah.
And then I am just very lightly, you know what? I need to be able to see what I'm doing. I'm just going to go very lightly go over the tops of this. And I can see it, but you guys probably can't. It's very, very lightly putting a dark green on this. And my goal with what I'm going to do here on both of these sides is I'm going to keep doing this. My goal is to get progressively lighter paint on the edges of this. So I want most of it to be this dark green, and I'm intentionally not slabbering the dark green on. I want it to be very faint against the black background. So
you're just barely catching the high points, the ridges on the embellishing there then, correct?
Exactly right. Now you can see a very slight difference between this one and the top row there. Okay.
Yep, I can see it.
Yep. So that's what you're looking for, is you're looking for that kind of thing. Now, I know that there are people in our audience, probably Ruby's done this a lot and other people. If I'm doing something wrong or there's tips you guys might have, please feel free to jump in, because I don't consider myself an expert at this.
Matt, when I apply the paint like that, what I do is I turn the brush horizontal or parallel to the surface I'm trying to dry brush. And that
Like
way
this?
you can, yeah, that way you can control easier how much is going on the high points.
Okay, thank you.
Matt, I always use a very stiff brush. I don't like using soft. I can control the color better with the stiff brush.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
agree with that.
kind of impatient, so I felt that I had better control and was getting the colors on a little bit better, quicker with the softer brush. But you know, I encourage all of you guys to try all this out and test it all out and find out what works best for you. So I did not like and I have a stencil, I have a stiff stencil brush right here. And I did not like how stiff that was and how little control I had over the paint that was going on.
Yeah, the stiff bristle brushes that I use are not round. I stay away from stencil brushes. I
Really?
like
Okay.
I like the flat ones, but they're
I'll have to get some glue out and fix one of my flat brushes then.
yeah, you know, I've got a bunch of like those flat bristle brushes. They look similar to the brushes that you have, but they're stiffer. And
Gotcha.
Like a fan brush.
no, that's soft and completely different.
Okay.
Right. That's like for watercolor and oils and stuff.
Yeah. I'll go get my brushes and show them to you afterwards.
You guys can't really see that very well, but I've got a light coating of dark green on almost all of the surfaces here.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
What do you do if you do accidentally get a little too much paint on your brush and get some of it down in those grooves, the holes, whatever that you've made?
Well, you have black
Can you
paint, so you can come back and repaint it.
repaint it? Okay.
That's what I've done. I don't know what other people do, but I've repainted. So
Yep, that's what I've done is repaint
Okay.
or re-lacquer if you're using black lacquer, which you can make
Yeah.
your own black lacquer by just adding black dye to it.
Yeah, and if you use your paintbrush like Ruby was suggesting, you're not going to hit the inside. You're only going to hit the tops.
All right, well, I like what I've got there, so I'm going to go
That
to the
looks
other
good.
side now. Well, I can't hardly see it in the picture, so that's what I'm saying.
It's hard to see.
Now, one
It's
of the
not-
things I'm going to try to do here on these ridges is I'm going to try to come across the ridges. I don't want to run parallel to the ridges because then the bristles will go down and get paint inside the cavity. I want to just come across 90 degrees or perpendicular to across the ridges, if that makes sense. Because I only want paint on the tops of the ridges. That's my goal here. Oh, I like that a lot. Should have done this on the other side. This is a better texture, or I like this texture better, I should say. It's no better. I like it better. And be careful where you put your hands. It was starting to get a little sticky. I didn't get anything on, but I could have.
It's
I
not
have
like
to
it's
wear
burnt.
gloves or I'd have it all over me.
I just did the top row. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but. And if you want more paint, then you just come back and put more paint on it. But the bottom line is that you want to go when you move to your piece, to your work, you don't want to have hardly any visible paint on the brush to start off with. Because you're just putting in a little bit of paint at a time. You're building paint on slowly. So I know this is a lot like watching grass dry or grass grow or paint dry.
Honeybees.
Choose your metaphor or golf.
Snow hares mating in a snowstorm.
Do people actually watch that? Never mind. The people probably do.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a segment on OnlyFans.
Or a federal grant for a university study.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
tax dollars at work.
That's
Your
happening.
tax dollars at work.
Right.
So one of the things that I was when I carved this,
we should get a tax grant for you doing this.
How do you figure?
I'm sure if we applied, we'd be able to get one.
I leave that in your capable hands, Dane.
Never thought about it.
So one of the things that I was doing here when I was carving this side of this is I was doing it with those stump cutter burrs that I showed last week. And I was trying to add a little bit of aberrations to it. And this, you won't be able to see them so much here with this coat, but the next lighter coat, you'll be able to see them a little bit more. But I was trying to add some variations and veins and all kinds, and some funky stuff with that to see what would happen. And you basically just you ever so slowly you're building paint. Now I've seen some people, and I want to say Linda Ferber is one of these people, and some other people who do a fair amount of this dry brushing, and they're using, when they use green, they also used a lot of yellows. So I'm happy with this, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm going to show it to you. So there's dark green on all the ridges on this side now. And I'm sure that this side is dry, so you can see it's slightly dark green also. Okay. So that's where I was going with this. So now let's do another shade here and get some white into this. So I put the white in the second container. So this is my green, there's my white. And I'm going to get a little mixing stick, and I'm going to add some of the white into the green and mix it up to make it lighter, a little more lighter than that. So you can see the dark green here on the outside, and now this green is quite a bit lighter after a little bit white added. Okay, so that's how I'm changing the shades. Off my little mixing stick, get some green paint on my fingers, and that's why you keep the trash can nearby. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing, only I'm not going to go quite as deep into the texture. Should have wiped that off. So parts of this, the edges parts now are starting to get a little lighter green. And you see that bit here on the end there that I just hit? This part right here. Oops, other side. That right there.
Starting to come through.
So and this is what my goal is, and I don't want to. My goal here is to get the edges of both of these textures, the raised edges, highlighted with the dry brushing. And I'm dry brushing a particular section until I've got the level of color I want, and then I'll move on. And as soon as it stops coming, then I'll go get more paint.
Your piece of paper with all the paint runoffs, you could put a frame on that and probably get a pretty dime for it too, Matt.
I was going to say,
yeah, I'll have to consider that. I like the way you guys think.
I mean, it looks better than that Jackson Pollock guy. He makes millions off of his stuff.
Yep.
You can even make the frame. If you need me to, Matt, I can show you how.
That's
So
all.
we're going to change you. We're going to change you for your nickname from No Band-Aids Brenda to Frame Queen Brenda. What do you think? What do you think?
Nah.
I like. I really
like that too.
Matt. I do too. Huh. Huh.
Don't rename her without her permission, Dean. I know the temptation's there.
Oh, I didn't know I needed permission.
He just changed my name. He did.
I knew.
seriously.
I didn't even look. I can't even see my Zoom screen, and I knew what he was doing.
Yeah, Matt knew that laugh.
Oh, well.
Hostess with the mostest. I like being able to operate on a laptop. I can't believe I did all this on my cell phone for 4.5 years.
So
Me
I don't know if
neither.
y'all can see that, but I really like how this is shaping up.
Those of us that have taken your place, Dane, have no idea how you did it on your cell phone.
Yeah, I know. I've heard. You guys have let me know.
Mhm.
I appreciate it.
Well, I really like how this looks, and I don't know if I can show you guys if the color's coming through.
Yeah, it's not
Yes,
fully
it's
coming through, but I can definitely appreciate the enthusiasm coming through in your voice.
I
Okay,
can see a
so
little bit of it down at the bottom.
yeah, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
oops, no,
on the edges you can see it.
yeah, well that's where it is I haven't gone fully in on the texture. I've only been doing the half that's between the middle of the texture and the ridge, if you know what I mean. So
Right.
that's what I've been doing with this one. So now I'm going to add some more white to my paint and make it a lot lighter. May have to add more white. All right, I want to make this lighter still. Yeah,
So
go
Matt,
ahead, Dean.
would it be advisable to, or would it be good to take your green and then your white, mix them on your paper, just a little bit at a time?
Well, one of the games that I'm playing here is that I want to get a significant portion of this stuff at a particular hue. Okay.
Okay.
And the reason why because I'm going to keep going back to it. So like once I get the hue I
Right.
want, I'm going to keep going back to it. So I don't want just a little bit. I want,
Yeah, you want to pull. Okay, that makes sense.
I want more than just a little bit. All right, so let's try that.
And does the paint, similar to dye, does the paint dry a darker color than what it looks like when it's initially going on? And then
I
when
do
it
not.
finishes-
I do
and then-
not think so. I think that this stuff is drying nearly the color that I think it is,
Okay.
which is why I'm comfortable with what I'm doing here. All right, so
Okay.
there's the color that I now have. Okay.
That's almost what, a teal?
Yeah, I don't know how you would define teal. I never did. I
Looks
think
more
there's
like
more blue. I call it light green.
Okay.
there you go.
So now what I'm going to try to do is I'm just going to try to hit the edges. A little bit too much paint on there. And I'm going to come back. My final coat on this is going to be mostly white with a little bit of green. Okay. And I'm just going to hit the bare edge of this. So I've got basically what I've done is I've created a gradient in the texture, a gradient of paint on the texture. I do like this, using this on the side of the brush, Ruby. Thank you. That does seem to work pretty good.
Yeah, that looks good.
It's really starting to pop. It's still, I mean, it looks a lot better in person than it does what you guys can see. Okay. This is pretty cool. I'm stoked. I like how this is. So if you notice this paint is a little bit sloppy on the piece, I was comfortable doing that because I know I'll be able to come back and sand that off at the end when I'm done with all this.
One suggestion I would make to anyone about to paint a piece would be to put a little bit of finish on some of the wood ahead of time to see what color that changes to, then pick your colors that you're going to put on the painted area so that they match, so to speak.
They contrast well or whatever.
Right.
And don't be afraid. I mean, I've done a fair amount of painting. Ruby's done a lot more than I have, I think. But don't be afraid if you're at all confused about any of it to pick up a color wheel and go from there. And you know, use a color wheel to make those kinds of assessments. So now I got a little bit of paint, a little bit of green here from doing the mixing. And I'm just going to mix that up on the white side this time to get a much paler green. Y'all see that? So this is the paint I'm going to go with now. Okay. So, and I do tend to try to clean off the brush between times, just in case, a little bit of water. Just clean off the brush a little bit. So now I got to remember to dip it in the right receptacle here. Who's chirping?
Right. Somebody needs to change the battery in their fire alarm.
Yeah, I don't think that's me.
It ain't me.
I know it ain't me.
Hey, you
So-
guys, you could hear that even though I hit the mute?
Yep. Guess so.
I
There it
did
goes
again.
again. That's a fire alarm chirping.
Yep, somebody's battery's
Smoke
out.
alarm, smoke alarm, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it shouldn't go through the mute. Mute is mute, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
It shouldn't. I can't hear it.
Well, I like this, but it's not as bright as I wanted it to be. So, and I don't know if the like I've got some bright LEDs in the overhead light over here, and I don't know if that's washing it out or what.
Can you decrease your light setting on your camera?
How do I do that, Dane?
Click down on your video.
I'm on VMS. Is it in there or is it in Zoom?
It's in Zoom. So click the little settings button for your video.
Is that here? Nope.
And then it'll
Video.
bring up a box and it'll show a little captured box of what the video is looking at.
Just for low light audio, auto, manual.
And then work, do the slider. Just work on your slider box there and see if you'll get real time feedback with the video screen in the GUI box that popped up on you.
I don't know. Let's try this. I don't know.
Yep,
That's
now
pretty.
well, you can see the contrast between the black and the green now. The greenish white. Don't know if you did anything, but you can actually see it now. So
Yep.
I thought he was just putting on too much paint. But now you can see it.
fire alarm, smoke detector is still chirping.
I can't see whose it is.
I
Where's it
can't see
coming
who
from?
it is.
There's
All
only
right,
about
so-
5 microphones open.
So it's not me. I've got the.
Must be Matt.
Huh?
Must be Matt.
I can only hear it in my one ear that has my earbud in. Okay, so anyway, this is how the piece looks now. Okay, and I like it, but I want something more. I want more pizzazz. So I think that what I'm going to do is I am actually going to start adding. I'm gonna take some yellow out, and I've got a crocus yellow here, and I'm going to try and use this, and we'll see how this works. Okay, so you guys good with this? Experimentation on the fly.
Sure.
Brenda?
Sure.
All right. So I'm gonna get
Always repaint it black or turn it off if you don't like it.
Exactly. Yeah, I want to make sure I get my brush cleaned up here, because I don't want the green in this. I just want to do yellow. And then so I used a rag with water on it, and now I'm going to try and get it's still coming off green, but we'll try it now. Okay. All right. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it. And I'm very, very lightly hitting the tops of things with this. Can you see the difference right here?
Yeah. Yes.
It's just this top row here. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the final pitch is really going to look good.
Yeah, and every pass you make on this, you add a little bit more color. So if you want more color, you just keep making more passes on it.
Gary wants you to put pink on it.
Tell him no. He can put pink on his own pieces.
You're not
Pink
gonna
could
do
be
pink?
catastrophic. Pink could be catastrophic on this piece, I think, with the greens. That's just, yeah, that's just slightly obscene, I think.
If you use too many colors, that's the biggest mistake that beginners make when they're painting a piece. And about the only time it's acceptable is when you're painting a rainbow and you go through all the colors in a very specific order. You're better to pick just a few colors that are within the same family.
So this looks a lot cooler in person. So I really like how this yellow added a bunch to it, and it's a sort of because it's coming in on top of the green and adding to the green. It's not a green yellow per se. It's a highlight, and I think it's you know, I like this a lot. So, all right, yeah, I'm gonna keep going with this on the other side too. So, and I'll take pictures and
Green and
post them.
yellow?
Well, no, this is just yellow, but it's on top of the green. So everything I've done so far is a green variation, right? It's green plus white. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, but this yellow, I'm just adding a little bit of yellow, and I'm just here right on the edges. Okay, I'm just adding yellow, and it's going on ever so faintly, just on the tops, and it's on top of the green that's already there. So there's some, you know, it's
in a different shade of green.
Well, think of it as you're adding a transparent layer, okay? And the more passes you make. So if I make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 passes at a specific place, I'm adding yellow at each pass, okay? So I'm adding a little bit of yellow every time I go over a certain section, right? So it becomes more yellow, but there's still green underneath that's sort of shining through. Okay.
Okay.
So if you can see that top row has the yellow on it, and it's not, the picture here that I'm seeing is not doing it justice, but that's the process. Is you're adding every time you make a pass on a specific place, you add more of the color that's on your brush. Okay. So I'm only making it like the tops of these ridges is the only place that I'm putting color right now. So I'm not going in at all. I'm angling my brush, so I just hit that corner edge. So there's a little bit of spillover on some of the texture. But every time I go over, so I go over a given section 10 or 12 or 15 times or more until I've got the, what I want on it. You know what I mean? So this is kind of an experiment because in general, I'm not a huge fan of greens, but this is a very interesting sort of, so I like this, and I'm probably going to call this a night on this. So I like where this is. I like the textures, and that's basically how you do it, how you do that.
Nice.
So let me try something here while everybody's on. Let me turn off the overhead light and see if that changes the color rendering. Oh, almost spilled my paint.
Ooh. What we were waiting on.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's almost like it's frosted.
It is, and this is more yellow green here than is showing up in the picture, and it's not staggeringly yellow green. It's lightly yellow green, and it's still mostly green with like highlights of yellow. So I really like it a lot, and that's why I say I'm going to call it a night. I don't want to put any more paint on because I like how it is. Questions?
It looks
Comments?
good.
Thank you, Ruby.
I think I got it.
What would you put over that to seal it, Matt?
I spray lacquer.
Okay.
On all decorated surfaces. In general, I spray lacquer. So that's my go-to finish on most of this stuff is spray lacquer. I use a rattle can.
Mm-hmm.
I've used the Minwax stuff for years, but it's getting hard to find these days because they have disputes with people. So the Varathane lacquers work good. The Deft lacquer works good. I have been using on these pieces. I have been using a matte finish. I think it's a Krylon matte finish. It's a spray matte finish, and it is a lacquer, but it's matte. Okay, so like any of these pieces, like this piece here. Okay, that's got a matte finish on it.
Okay.
All right.
not overpowering. I like that.
Yeah, and this was done in a very similar way. I put a deep red on things, then I put a sort of a red-orange on things, a little bit less, not so much to the edges, and then a bright orange, and then highlighted everything with a bright yellow. So it's the same sort of general idea where you're changing the colors and adding, you know, a little bit less paint every time so that you see all the colors when they're coming through. So that's the whole general idea. And that's what you're doing on every pass. And I showed how to make gradients there, and I showed how to make the you know, how to lighten up a color and maybe add a color if you want to change it. And I talked about how that's happening. Any other questions on that?
I got a question.
Yeah.
On my piece here, right? With it being a tea light, I'm thinking a solid red on the first, you know, for the solid color, a red, and then highlight it with yellow.
Well, that's entirely up to you. Both.
Would that work?
Well, if you look at,
I'm thinking the flame colors, you know, like.
Yeah,
The best thing to do there is take a separate piece of wood and make some marks on it and test it out and then see if you like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Yeah, test things on the wood, test things on your textures to see what happens. One of the things that I was doing with this piece, with the dry brushing, is I was aiming at the corners. All right, so whenever I put the paint on, I'm trying to hit the tops of the textures. I'm trying to hit the tops of the textures. I'm trying to hit, you know what, I got it. So, you know, I'm just hitting the top. I want the textures to be highlighted, and that's the goal, if that makes sense. So, yeah, but Ruby makes what Ruby's saying makes all the sense in the world. Test it out on wood. Now, you saw when I did a lot of the carving last week that I was doing I had scrap test pieces I was doing carving on to show everything. Among other things, you find out how the wood carves or how the wood takes the color. And Ruby is exactly right on that too, is that test it on the wood. One of the things I discovered with this piece here, the grain this is a cross grain piece. Okay. So when I was carving down the slope, everything carved perfectly. As soon as I tried to carve up the slope, I got all kinds of tear out, and I couldn't fix it until I sanded it. It just the carving tools was just tearing up the wood, and you can really see the layers of the wood in there. So pay attention. You know, that's another good reason to use test pieces is to test how your carvings, you know, how the carvings are working and how the wood takes the color. You know, is it going to soak it up? You know, which you don't in general. If you're trying to put paint.
When I was carving, I found when I was doing cross grain, it was catching the grain and jumping.
Yes. Yeah, and that's why I asked that question that I did about the tools that you were using. Because
the rules for carving are the same as the rules for turning on a spindle. You have to carve with the grain.
Yep, that's excellent advice. Other questions?
Matt, you want to clue me in there so I can show them what brushes that I've been using?
Yeah, let me add you in here, Sue.
Yeah. There we are. Let me move my coffee mug. I use brushes like this. Now, these are bristle brushes.
What's that? What does that mean, Sue?
They're more of a
very stiff bristle.
Yes.
Okay.
Give you an idea. By the way, I have dry brushed with that 3 or 4 aught brush. when I want to just highlight a single thing in the middle of something. But yeah, they're relatively inexpensive. I don't like the long ones. If I'm going to do a long one, I'm going to cut it down. The ones that I've been using the most out of that are these. And they're just a stiff Brussels. I
And they're
enjoy.
flat. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They're flat. I'm sorry. They're flat. And the ones that I use a lot, they actually start looking like a fingernail brush because you're actually wearing down the brush. But these brushes are relatively inexpensive.
What was that?
I don't know, but we got some weird stuff going on here.
Mine says loading your whiteboard.
Yeah, Robert Edwards whiteboard. Whatever he hit,
My
it's
goodness. All right. Well, let me see if I can undo this.
I don't seem to have an option to undo it, Dane.
Yeah, you do I.
Oh, wow.
Well, hit stop here. There we go.
There we go.
All right, now
Thank you.
what I'm going to show you next, Matt, I'm sure knows about these because he probably did them too. This is from Dixie Biggs' class. He knows.
Oh, yes.
But you can even dry brush line smooth stuff. You just have to know how to hit it with the grain running across it. Okay.
Gotcha.
This one, I don't know if you can see it. I started with a dark blue and then made it a lighter blue before I did them. And then
Yeah, Dixie shows a couple of ways to do that, to carve.
I know he has this. Remember these, Matt?
I do. I'm looking for mine. I'm looking for mine in the background.
All right.
Anyway, that's what I wanted to show you. There are several coats of paint on there. Okay. And it just, I did them all dark brown, then I started hitting the dark green and then a little bit of yellow green and highlighted it with yellow. There's also orange in there. I don't think you see it, but yeah, these were all clover items. And so, yeah, we were doing this with power carving and different.
Wow.
This is, he knows that this is, it's just a regular ball and you're burning the wood without a burner. And if you're going to paint or dye, if you carve it first, your dye's not going to go past those lines. So you can do whatever you want. And then
Zentangle. Yep.
Very cool.
Oh yeah, the Centangle's down there. I keep forgetting the name for that. So yeah. But
I have some of the books, so Zentangling is good fun. I'm gonna do a quick share. I'm gonna do a quick share screen. So there's mine. Look familiar, Sue?
Oh, yeah, looks very familiar. Yeah. Yeah, but you did that leaf on there. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a week long. This was a sum total of a week long class at Aramont with Dixie Biggs.
Yeah.
So I don't remember how long ago that was, but it was maybe
It's been
10
a
years
while
ago.
for me too, but it's stuff you never forget. I sent out a little thing for you to read, but my house, the peaks are wooden, the rest of it is block. And my house is like a bone colored, and the peaks were kind of aqua colored, but I didn't want it that stark. So I dry brushed the peaks with the bone color from the house, and it made the peaks look like they had weathered. It looked really neat, and everybody loves it. So yeah, I just didn't want the stark aqua on my house. I wanted it to look like bluish age. And it came out
So Ruby's got something she's wanting to share here.
You want to highlight me and then it might show up better?
Yeah, I can eliminate everybody else.
Eliminate me.
Okay.
There we go.
On this piece, it's a color. I hope the color's showing up okay. it was first painted a dark brown. Well, first, before that happened, basically just took glue and just dabbed it all over the place to create the texture. Then it was painted a dark brown, and then it was dry brushed over the highlights just to hit the top points on the glue to create that effect. On the finial,
Kind of whitewashed.
back
No.
here better?
I can see it.
And then on the finial, it was painted the same brown. It would have been textured, painted the same brown, and then just slightly sanded to create a different color on the top part of the surface. Now on this piece was a whole different technique. After it was turned, the entire piece was covered with glue, and then tissue paper, the kind that you wrap up for presents. If you take all the old tissue paper from Christmas and keep it, and you squish it up really well so that it's got wrinkles all over the place, then what you do is you lay the wrinkled paper over the surface. When that's dry, this was painted brown, and then it was dry brushed with a brass or a copper color just to hit the highlights of the paper that was that had been glued on. And it gives you a whole different texture and a different effect.
Very cool.
That is neat.
And this was turned green, so that's how I was able to bend these pieces.
Very neat.
Okay.
Hey, can I ask if there's any more questions for me before we move to the next
Yes,
bit?
please, Matt.
You can
Okay.
take me off, Dane.
Thanks, Ruby.
Good
Good
insight.
job, Matt.
We got you, Matt. Possibly.
Talk, Matt.
I'm here.
Oh, I got him. It's Zoom, folks. It's being
Yeah,
funny.
it's
taking folks off
misbehaving
on the
tonight.
spotlight.
It's misbehaving tonight, Zoom is, yes. All right, any other questions for me on anything that I've covered tonight?
I'm good. I think I
All
got it.
good.
It's been great.
All
I'm
right, well,
good.
like I
I
said,
learned a lot. Thank you, Matt. There
Yeah,
were some of the techniques that I was using that coincided with what you were doing, and then a couple different things that I wasn't that I will try, and spot on. I appreciate it.
okay, good.
What kind of wood was it?
The wood was box elder, but I mean, I've got cherry, I've got silver maple. Anything you carve will work.
Thank you.
Especially if you're going to paint it black. Black is going to be
That's
your
right.
base, or whatever your base color is going to be. It doesn't matter what the wood is.
Right. Yeah, if you're painting over it, then, if you're leaving some of the wood, then it matters. If not, then it doesn't.
Right. Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. All
Thanks,
right.
Matt.
Well, going once, going twice. Anybody else have any more questions for Mr. Matt? If not, it was a hell of a demo. 2-part series. Much appreciated. It's hard to do back to back. Really appreciate it, Matt.
Thank you, you guys.
Great job.
Thank you, Matt.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Outstanding. All right. So do we want to have another quick demo, or do we want to carry
Yes.
on talking wood turning?
Demo.
I heard a vote for demo.
Vote for demo. All right. So
I've done got you wrote down.
who'd you write down?
You.
Me.
Yeah.
Goodness. Well, all right. Well, let's do that then. So I thought I would show how I do my handles for, let me see. Let me use my cell phone. The camera's better on it. Spotlight here. And then you
That's a
just gotta
beautiful
give me a
piece
minute
of
to,
maple.
yeah, it sure is. So I thought I would show how I make my offset handles that I use for my rolling pins. So I thought that would be neat. So, you know, completed project there. And then, so here are a couple examples. And then how you shape the end, you know, it's all up to you, you know. So, you know, but the big thing what I'm wanting to show is how I get the faceted end, faceted top, and then the faceted sides. And they're real nice in the hand. They're very, very ergonometric. I can have a regular handle on a rolling pin and one of these, and I'll always come home with the regular regular handles on them. So piece of cherry. This is a piece of mesquite that I ebonized with iron acetate, and then I left the white sapwood. So I thought that was kind of cute. So, all right. Well, with that, let me get set up here real quick and see what kind of damage we can do.
Are you sure you want to dirty that nice shop?
Well, I just cleaned up, you know, right here, you know, make it look like I don't do anything. So
Looks way too clean.
Yeah, I'd be a lot more comfortable, Dane, if there was shavings hanging from everything.
oh, there will be, there will be, there
Yeah,
will
just,
be.
just come to my shop, Matt. You'll see all of that.
I watched part of your video yesterday, Billy. There's no question in my mind that your shop and my shop are kindred spirits.
Hey, you want to see a messy shop? I'll take my computer downstairs. Make both of yours look clean.
No, my shop hasn't been cleaned since I cleaned it, since I put the lathe in.
So I got a few blanks set up. And so what we can do a split screen, and we can possibly see the body mechanics of me dancing at the lathe as I'm turning. Scott, I'm going to leave that up to you to remove and or add.
We got you both.
All right, well, that means I hit the right buttons, so that's good. Let's see, try to get the camera here. Keep in mind the laptop is kind of new for me to use, so yeah, it looks like you can see me dancing should I dance. All right, so got a couple different options here for blanks. I could use, kind of weird looking back to the laptop instead of looking at the cell phone, so this is kind of weird. So I got mesquite and I got cherry. What would you guys like to see done?
Make one out of cherry.
Make
Please.
one out of cherry. Cherry. One of the few times that democracy works.
So, what size blank and how long?
I'm getting to it. So, you guys want to do a screenshot? The camera's not coming through. I'll send this in to Dave. So I start with a, basically it's a 6-inch block. I do all my measurements in millimeters, so I have to do all the conversions. So 6-inch block by 1.5 inches, 1 3/8, roughly.
Okay.
30. Yeah, something like that. And so the first thing that I do is Camera coming through okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks, yeah, we can see
Yeah,
everything. Dean.
absolutely. Okay, good.
That looks
Okay.
good.
And so I'm starting, so first thing I do, you start with a square block. You want to have your ends cut square. Find your center. You want to drill, for me, I use 1/4 inch brass rod going in between to connect the handles inside the rolling pin. So I have a hole that is drilled 1/4 inch and it goes through 37 millimeter, which is approximately 1.5 inches. And then on the back side, obviously find your centers. And then I use a 6 millimeter offset from the center. And the offset is what you use to turn the faceted handle in. And for that, so I use 2 different, aside from your live center. So initially starting out when I'm roughing the blank, I use a dead center, 60-degree dead center. And that nests perfectly inside of the 1/4 inch hole. And then after I turn the tenon, which goes inside of the rolling pin by 1/2 inch. Weird, I'm not seeing myself on my camera, but I can see it on the laptop, so that's good. So there's a 1/2 inch tenon that is turned here on the handle itself that sits inside the rolling pin itself. So that's the critical. And so once I get that turned, then I will switch to a stub center. And the stub center allows you to have good amount of force to hold between centers without any fear of breaking or blowing out that tenon that is now weakened because you got a hole going through it and there's a small wall on it. There's only 3/16 of an inch wall on it. But it sits nicely on the taper of the stub center, and then you got the back wall of the stub center, so you can push, and you ain't got to worry about splitting up that tenon. So that's important, or at least it is on my end of it. If you don't have a stub center, you could also turn yourself a piece of wood, put it in the chuck, make yourself a 1/4 inch tenon to go inside the hole that you drilled, and then ensure that you have a wall on the backside. That way, it nests and rests just like it does on the stub center. Does that make sense?
Is the 1/4 inch hole for a steel rod to go through the rolling pin?
Yes, it is. Because inside my rolling pins, I put a bearing on each side. That way everything rolls nice and smooth. Now you got to worry about wood movement, binding up against the metal, the brass rod. Any questions on that? 9. And then so whenever I chuck, whenever I'm doing between centers, especially when I've got multi got different access points, I always want to make sure that I am on the correct point and that I'm not off to the side of it. So I always seat the live center side first before putting it up against the dead center or the stub center. And so again, doesn't have to be super tight. You're going to be able to turn it by hand. Your tool's going to be doing all the cutting. So real quick, I'm gonna try my little light here. Does that wash out things too much?
That seems
That wash
okay,
things
Dan.
out?
That's fine.
Okay, good. So let me get my face shield. And so we're gonna take a skew. We're gonna rough this bad boy out. Just get it round. We're gonna get to somewhere as close to 35 millimeter. And then we'll lay out the various dimensions. And so you want to let the tool cut, because if you press too hard, you're gonna stop it. And when you're between centers, pretty much the safest way to turn, because if you do shove it in too hard, it is going to stop. It's just going to sit and spin. All right, so now we got a nice clean surface, and now we will mark off the dimensions. Of course, I'll put my storage stick up, just like car keys, right where you put it, you know.
Dane, I think we get a better view if you went to just the cell phone camera from overhead.
Yeah, it's not big enough, huh?
That's
Oh,
better.
perfect now.
I
There we
got you,
go.
Dane.
All right, thank you. All right, so I use a storage stick whenever I make stuff often. It's just easier that way. That way you don't have to, God, it sounds like I'm talking in a drum with this thing on. That way you don't have to recreate your dimensions each time. You know, take the time, make yourself a storage stick, cut yourself out a little drill divot for your critical dimensions. You know, label them if you want to. And then so all I'm going to do is put this right here beside on top of the tool rest and up against the piece of wood. It's not going to pull out of your hand. Everything's coming towards you. And so now we'll mark our first one. That one's not a real critical one. That's really not a real critical, but that one's really critical. And that one's real critical. But that's just a guide there. And so right here, this is where the half-inch tenon is going to be turned, approximately 14 millimeter. And then this is where you can do your shaping for the bulbous end of the handle that's going to be going against the rolling pin. This is where your taper is going to take place. But this dimension right here is when you set it. This is going to be the dimension of about 14, 15 mil that you're going to be turning that offset to. And you don't want to blow by that offset or have the offset blow by the offset of that 14, 15 millimeter dimension that you set, because then it's gonna screw up how that shape and feel is. And then you've got to, turn it around and then start going back between both chucking points to try and get everything through up to where everything is proportional. And so what we're going to do next is Turn the tenon down. Wait, tool rest up a little bit. I'm just gonna hog that off. Get the skew. Again, you're coming in when you're doing these type of cuts. You're coming in. You're sitting about 10 o'clock, and you're just letting the wood peel off. You come in like this, you're scraping. You're up here on top. You're doing nothing but cutting. And because I don't have this tightened up a lot, you definitely got to take smaller cuts, and you got to let the tool, got to let the skew do its cutting. So let's see how close we got. Real close. You want to do nice clean cuts, that way you're not sanding. That's that. The next one is we're going to set the 15 mil here on the center. You want to cut to the left of where the offset turning is going to take place. And so I have found with parting tools that they cut, or at least for me, they cut way better at 1500 RPMs or less. I have to turn that up a little bit, or tighten it up a little bit. When I'm at a high speed, I find that it burns the wood. So you can see there where it wasn't cutting, the piece just stops. And so you want to go about 14, 15 mil there as well. You can be a little bit oversized because you're going to clean that up in the final turning process when you're making the match between when you're doing the blending from the offset to the straight part of the turning on the handle. Little bit closer. That looks close enough. Yep. So now I will switch out from the dead center to the live center, or to the stud center. And then one thing to keep in mind when you're having to use your knockout bar to knock something out of your spindle, it doesn't take a lot of force. You know, all you got to do is barely tap it, and then you always want to be able to catch it. You don't want it knocking out of your hand and dropping on your bed, hitting it, ruining the point, or damaging your concrete floor. That's a joke. Tough crowd. All right, any questions?
None so far.
All right, so once again, so I've got my offsets. There's your center point. So 6 mil on that side, 6 mil on that side. And so once again, I'm going to have it to where it's just close enough to where I know that I can feed this directly in, because I'm starting on the the chucking point on this side, and then you squeeze it into your stud center. Water drink. And then so next, what you want to do, you want to bring your tool rest up. And then so with this chucking point like this, now you can actually put a little bit of pressure going against it, because all of the torque turning pressure is going to be coming against the walls of the tenon. There's no pressure, outward pressure that's going against the walls. It's going to cause this thing to split. Does that make sense? Of course it does.
It did to me.
And for me, remember what I messaged you the other day, Brenda?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Listening.
Good. And then for when I do offset turning, I always want to have my tool rest as close as possible, quarter of an inch at least. And then I want to set that angle based on the angle of that offset. I'm going to set the tool rest to follow that line of a trajectory. And so I'm going to be using scale on this. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to bring this outer dimension in a little bit, because right now I think I'm sitting at about 38 millimeter, 39. And so I want to be closer to 37. And so since we've got two sides here, so I'm only going to take about 2 mil coming in straight from the side here with my skew. And then we'll start the carving process of it. So you can hear that offset. Speed is your friend. You're turning half of it is air. And so you can see the lines. And so the lines are important, because that is what sets this line right here is your turning point that's going to set that part of your handle coming in. And so you want to try and turn just to that line. We'll see how successful we can be at doing this. So once again, speed's your friend. Good thing there was nothing that was going to break on that. So now we're just going to work on carving, getting some of that excess stock away here. That way you can get the bevel to do what it's supposed to do on your skew. In case you didn't know, you can actually cut with the toe on the skew. You utilize that other part of the blade that gets so sorely ignored. But you just got to be careful you don't get too aggressive with it, because it will remove some wood. which follow the same principles. Bottom third. I'll give you a little progress of what it's starting to look like. Shape goes real quick. I don't know if we'll be able to get in here with the pencil to where we can see it. We'll just go ahead and mark it here. We want to turn right to that pencil and then over that width of the parting tool that set that dimension here. I don't know if that's coming through. No, not really. And so now we'll just work our way down. So the next step is to start coming in and working our way down, taking
Okay.
even cuts all the way across. Yeah.
Can you move the camera closer, maybe? Zoom in, like? If not, it's okay. I thought maybe you could just move the camera.
Yeah, I can set this down lower. And how's that?
That's better.
Hold it stiff. You're making me dizzy.
That's good, Dane.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you bet. You ask and you shall receive.
Oh my goodness.
Try it with the light out and see if it looks better.
That's even better, Dane.
Outstanding. I can't see now. All right.
Muscle
So
memory.
we're coming in. We're catching the toe and then bringing it around to the bevel, and then just pushing and twisting the body around. You're going to take light cuts. If you go too far, you got to throw it away. Let's see where we're at. Looks like we're about 2 millimeters from the bottom there. Just like walking a dog. About 1 millimeter to go. no shame in stopping and looking at what you're doing. You're almost there now. So now you can probably see that pencil line. And so you just want to take this all the way across. Let's see if we can do that in one fell swoop here. Look at that. Nailed it. That's surface ready for 320. So if you wanted to sand, now's your time to sand while you're on that offset. And then there's one other opportunity later when you profile the end of the handle end. So now we'll just do the same thing, change the point, reposition your tool rest. Bring that top piece in a little bit. So what you should do is start with that dimension priorly. And you wouldn't have to do this, but it's okay. Easily rectified. And go ahead and hog off some of this real quick. Stop and see where we're at. You want to make sure those two handle lines are joining together. We're in the same plane, so it looks like we're good on that. And we got about 3 millimeters down here at the base. And so like I said, it's just like walking a dog. Go a little ways, take a break. Take a little bit of wood, and then just keep taking a little bit at a time. Let's see where we're at. Pretty doggone close. Take 1, 2, go. There we go. So there we go. We can do one more bit to take off there. And again, you can use sandpaper. Nothing wrong with that. There we go. All right, so now that we're in this chucking point here, so make your oval handle. You start your parting process while it's in the off center chucking points, holding points. So all you got to do is take it in just a little bit, because you can't take in too much, because you still gotta have the dexterity of the handle in here to turn the rest of the piece here. But you're just going to take it in a little bit, change to your other chucking point, do the same thing. Or if you want to have a rounded end, then you do this process at the end, and then just part of it, do your turning process to part, to get it ready to part off at that time, and you'll make a rounded handle end. So it all depends on what you want to do there. So I figure for grins, we'll just go ahead and do an oval one here, because it's kind of neat. And then that's where that second line came in. I said it wasn't real critical, but it kind of is. And so it's I got written on here 8 millimeter, and that was if you do a shorter piece of wood, you could actually get away with 5 3/4 doing this piece, but it leaves you a little bit of room here on the live center side. But that line right there is part of what you're turning to right now before you start connecting the residual line from the offset. Any questions?
So
Not
you
so
only,
far.
did you do 2 sides or 3 sides?
No, it's 2 sides.
Thanks.
Sorry, grabbing some water. It's hot out here.
So 2 sides is all you're going to do?
Yes. Yeah, it's 2-sided.
Oh. Okay. I thought it was 3-sided. Okay.
9. All right, so using spindle gouge, just rotating. Like I said, we're not taking a whole lot of material off. We're just trying to get that basic profile. Makes it easier at the end when it's being parted off at the skew. And you want to make sure that you're leaving enough room to be able to do the second offset. If you take too much, then you got to throw it away. And so you can see the taper where you meet up the contour here. Let's use the black one, see the profile better. And so that's what we're doing, is making that profile, making everything meet from what was initially turned. I knew there was a reason why I did the black. That should be enough. And so that leaves you with a little football. So now you want to put it back on your center axis. Once again, same thing. Make sure Make sure you're on that center axis. Squeeze it in and torque it down. So now you're going to turn the outside here. And I try to get to where somewhere is around 30, 31 millimeter. It looks something like 30, 31 millimeter. It's not critical, but if you're making multiples, obviously you want to have something close. And you want to straighten up the tool rest. So I'm just going to take my skew again. I'm just going to hog off the majority of this. Skew presentation. Always try to cut around 10:30, quarter to 11. The angle, pretty much I'm at 35, about 35 degrees, but if you're between 30 and 45 is pushing it, but 30 and 45 degrees, you're not going to get a catch. And then as long as you're hitting that bevel, you're good. And you're just going to get an immaculate cut. If you're unsure what that angle is supposed to be, you can hand turn. And if you got the right angle and your tool is sharp, you're going to get little wispies. You know, they're going to look just like that.
You're using a curved skew blade, aren't you?
Yeah, I could use a square skew blade too. Again, the presentation doesn't change. Whether I'm using that style or using a pretty much a square style, or this one's crazy. This is my own grind. This is convex, or an oval skew that has a blade coming out. They all cut the same.
Yep. All that really matters. All that really matters is the angle that the tool is meeting the spinning wood at.
Being presented, yes.
Hey, Dane, what were you making anyway?
Were you late?
Yes.
Were you sleeping, Howard? I'm making a handle.
Rolling pin handle.
It's an offset handle. And so these are the handles that I make that go into my rolling pins, Howard. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yes.
Right on. All right, so now we need to remove some of the stock down here on this side. Oh, I never did check to see how close it was. Oh, pretty close. That's good. So once again, I cut about 10 o'clock. Just let the blade cut. We're just hogging off material. You do want to be careful that you don't get gay with it and come down and screw up your profile that you just turned earlier with the offsets. Especially with cherry, because man, that stuff turns easy. so I'm just gonna make a little half bead on this side. Set that. We'll go back to the skew. And since I'm so far up on my headstock, what I should do is turn this thing around. Because I don't like to cut left-handed. So I do it the hard way here. And you just plow right through here, all the while making sure you're getting a good cut. Come back in and clean things up. We'll just walk the dog, take a little bit at a time all the way down. You take that, make it nice and clean. Up against the indentations from when it was turned off center here. And so next, you want to blend. Now you got to blend these little hard points. You want to make them nice and rounded here. So with that, we're gonna use the all-rounder for that. Bend my tool rest a little bit here. And you're just gonna go about 3/16 of an inch, no more than a quarter. And just gradually take that down. And then you'll rotate that into your cut. And then blend it backwards. Bump right there.
Dane, that all-rounder being more blunt-like than a skew, is it more forgiving?
Do what?
I said with that all-rounder having that more rounded, blunter cutting edge, is it more forgiving than a skew?
It's a different cutting action. So it is square crossed, but it's conical the way it's
Right.
sharpened. Your tool rest, so you're cutting at center. So your tool rest is dropped and the handle is down. And then you're always wanting to stay on the center line.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, it cuts great.
Well, it doesn't look like it'd be as grabby.
If you were to hit that point, it's gonna light you up.
Oh, well, yeah.
So as long as you're, again, you're following, it's probably more of a 30-degree angle with it.
Okay, thanks. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, that's it. So, so beyond a little bit of sanding to take out my burnishing mark from where I was pressing too hard on the handle end here, we're almost done. Let me grab my other skew, get it ready, and we will finish up the handle here. Raise that up, move it over a little bit. Ooh.
I like the shameless plug.
Do what, Billy?
I said I like that shameless plug.
That. So what I'm wanting to do is get the majority of this stock removed with the thicker, heavier bladed skew here. And then we're going to come in with the oval skew. And pare the rest of that off. They're just coming in with the toe, handle is dropped, finding that cut, and then raising the handle. While meanwhile keeping that bevel against your wood. I'm having a hell of a time seeing that. But that's all right, we're almost there. And from there, you can pretty much break it off. Take your carving knife. Just break it off. You just have a little pin there. Take your carving knife, the chisel, sandpaper, however you want to do it, and that'll be broke off. Yeah, maybe if you turn a little bit more.
You didn't go thin enough.
A little thicker than I thought. Give myself more room. Now it's time for it to pop off the lathe, right?
I thought it was gonna go a little bit ago. There it goes.
Nice catch.
See, I was a wrestler, so I got really good eye-hand coordination.
Dang.
And then so there you are. handle.
Nice.
Very nice. Thanks, Dean.
Great
And
job,
like I
Dean.
said,
Very nice.
fits
I
perfectly
do
in
have
your
one
hand, you know.
question though. You really
Yeah.
nailed that. Do you ever worry about the fact that when you nail it like that, that the roller may not roll right? Don't think about it, Dane. It was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
I need to drink. I need to drink some beer and get caught up. I'm sorry. I'm not having my wit about myself. But yeah, you know. So there you are. You know. Like I said, you know, you put it back on the lathe. You can make yourself. You know, like I said, you can make yourself a little. Well, if you got to call it chuck, clamp down on there. If you wanted to do some sanding, go ahead and do your sanding. You want to do some dyeing, go ahead and do your dyeing. You know, like I said, for a demo, I'm not going to sand, but you know, 320 ready, nice and clean.
Sweet.
And it's different.
Very nice, Dane. That's a neat idea.
Very nice, Dane.
All
I
right.
love the demo, Dane. That's a great idea.
All right. Thank you. Outstanding.
I got a couple questions.
Yeah.
All right. First of all, that 1/4-inch hole that you drilled in the end that's going to go into the rolling
For the
pin.
handle in. Yep.
Yeah. How deep did you drill that hole?
Oh, sorry. 37 millimeter,
Which
is about an
is
inch and a half.
Oh, 1.5 inches.
Yeah. So you got a 1/2 inch here and then 1 inch here.
Right. Gotcha.
Right. And that's
Right.
just so you have plenty of, you know, good material to hold on, you know, for the rod going into
Right.
the handle.
How do you secure that? How do you secure that pin inside the roller?
I epoxy them.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right.
Rough it up,
But
epoxy it.
What size is the rolling pin?
Yeah, let's
It
go for the
is-
rolling pin.
Oh, rolling pin, huh? So rolling pin is
2 inches.
So I'm guessing 2 inches, maybe 2.5.
I'm gonna say 2 1/4 maybe. Oh no. No, 2 5/8. Oh look, it's got a temple. So your old UVEX shields, these make great templates. So yeah, 2 5/8. This is what I use for sizing. And the reason why is because when somebody's working on it, they don't want to be banging their knuckles when they're rolling stuff out. They don't want to be
Right.
straightening their fingers out while they're rolling.
So
yes,
Dane, how do you drill that thing out? You got a 2-foot
that was
drill?
my next question. I can't
Very
drill
simple.
straight. I mean, you give me a drill bit that's
So
over
you-
2 inches long, it's not going to go straight.
So you start with a 3-inch block of wood. And there's an English guy. He has the best adage ever. If it needs a hole when it comes off the lathe, it needs a hole before it goes on the lathe. So you drill it as a square block before it goes onto the lathe.
Okay.
And so you start with your center drill and you work your way up. You're only going to a 1/4 inch. And then the final drill bit, I use concrete bits and I cut off
The drill bit does not go all the way through the rolling pin?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah, the drill bit goes all the way through. And so I use concrete bits and I cut off the end, you know, because you've got that big, you know, carbide tungsten cutter on the end of carbide cutters. You cut that off and then you regrind that steel. And somebody showed how to do that on Tips and Tricks back in March. I'm sure of it. And so you regrind it. Now you got a drill bit that's rigid, it's solid, it's going to hold up. and you've already got your 1/8 inch hole all the way through it. Now you come through with your 1/4 inch. You do half at a time, flip it around, drill the other half. Works marvelously. And then when you go to turn it, now you've got your hole. It doesn't matter if the hole went crooked through that 3-inch block of wood, because now you're going to mount it. Now you're going to turn it in accordance with that hole that was drilled.
Right.
That's the purpose, Brenda, of drilling the hole first. It doesn't have to be straight. Because you're gonna make it, you're gonna turn it straight to that hole.
Yeah,
Where do you
that's
put the
what I
bearing?
keep telling myself with the salt and pepper shakers too, and they're always crooked.
Do you drill them first or drill them last?
So Dane, do your handles rotate independently from the roller, or are the handles fixed in the roller?
Now the handle is fixed, but I have a bearing on the inside, so it doesn't hang up on the wood. A lot of people will do fixed shafts going through, but if they don't have a bearing in there, then the pin's not going to roll correctly. And then when you put pressure on it, the pin won't roll.
So you've got a hole all the way through the roller and a bearing on each end?
Yep.
Okay.
Offset on the, it's offset I don't know, 3/4 of an inch. So this is a 1/2 inch. Bearing is probably close to 1/4 of an inch.
Okay.
And it's about, if I remember right, I want to say it's 17 millimeter. You know, American dimensions is crazy. Metric is so much more accurate.
It's as accurate as your measuring device is. It doesn't matter what the units are. You know this.
Whole units. It's whole units. You know, what's 20, half of 20 mil, 10 mil. What's half of 3/4? Now you guys are gonna have to go punch the calculator.
3/8. I don't. It's
what's half of 3/8?
3/16.
3/16.
Right. What's half of 3/16?
3/32, 3/64, 3/128.
Yeah, I know. Various ones of us can do that, but the majority of folks can't do that. Millimeters.
Lost me after the first
Millimeters are
one.
whole numbers. So anyway, you know, I'm not.
I use millimeters a lot for the same reason.
Yeah, it's just simple. You know, 1 inch, 25 mil.
I don't ever use millimeters because I can do that stuff in my head.
I can too.
I can too
regardless.
sometimes.
But Matt,
Anyway.
when you go to buy ball bearings, most of them now are in millimeters, not in American sizes. Imperial.
Standard. Yeah.
Well, it's 2.54 centimeters to the inch, so you just do the math.
Then you got to have all those special drill bits.
Just buy 2 sets.
But anyway, you know, so.
And do you glue the you glue the bearings in there so they don't move, or no?
I put CA, but I have that fits. I've got to press them in with I press them in with the live center.
Okay.
So they are tight. They're not overly tight because I don't want to split the wood, but it is a tight friction fit.
Okay.
And I'm yet to have one fail in 15 years I've been making them. So
Okay, cool. Thanks.
yeah, you bet.
But you
Any other
have
questions?
you have two sizes of concrete drill bit. You have one that's 1/8 of an inch and one that's 1/4 of an inch.
No, my final the 1/4 inch one is the concrete bit that I use. Beyond that, I use regular high speed steel, 1/8 inch bits. So initially, I do a 4-inch drill, and then I'll go to I think it's a 6 or 8 inch high speed steel. Oh, it's longer than that. 10 inches. It's an Irwin. I'll pull it out. I'll show you the concrete bit that I reground. I can get in there. Big fingers, little tight spaces don't work. So there's the eighth inch. That's the 1/8 inch. And then this is the concrete bit. And so like I said, I cut the end off and then I reground it.
Okay.
So you
And that
cut the
is-
carbide off?
Yes. Because it's oversized. Otherwise.
I got you.
Yeah. And the concrete bit will not flex, as long as, you, again, use proper drilling techniques, slow speed, back it in and out. Take your time. It's not.
Good night, guys. I gotta go.
Good
All right,
night.
buddy.
Night.
And yeah, so that's what I use and basically how I do it. So and then to get the rolling pin to make sure it's flat, take yourself a flat piece of wood, piece of hardwood, and then you stick some sandpaper on it, and that'll take off any of the high spots that you may have. And I'm not seeing my flat sanding boards, but it's literally take yourself a 2-inch board, stick your sandpaper on there, and you just set it on top. And if you got any high spots, it'll be taken off. If you try to use sandpaper going back and forth on it, you're just going to make dips and valleys in that thing. So, but yeah, that's how I do it.
It
Yeah.
makes sense in my head.
Very
Whether
cool.
I
Thanks, Dan.
do it or
Dan,
not, I
that's a
don't
great
know.
one.
Great evening. All right, let's swing back to Captain Eddie if he's still here. Oh no. Eddie left.
Don't see him.
That's all right. Well, did we have anybody else come in for gallery, Matt?
The only person who offered something was Doug. So let's go to him. And he said he had some plates. Looks like he's ready for bed.
It could be. You never know.
Well, Dale
yeah,
was
Matt.
hollering, so
Matt put out a call for some more show and tell. So just real quick, just some more of the 17. This one's an ash one. It's same.
it is top of the hour.
Yeah. Well, I'll just go through these real quick. That's some
Realize it
ash.
was that late.
Yeah. Cherry. That one, I really like both of these cherry plates. I did 2 cherries. I was using up pieces that were just happened to be plate size. That one has some nice, I don't know that you can
Oh,
see
yeah.
them. There's some
Yeah, very
nice
nice.
little insect holes there that didn't go through, but that one came out nice.
You finish those with Doug.
Every one of these is finished with abrasive paste and wax. Every one of them. Maple. These were some maple boards that came out of a children's Sunday school class. We never have figured out what they were used for. But I had several of them, and 3 of them got, well, 2 of them got made into plates, and I'll tell you about a third one. Anyway, there's that one. There's another one. Same thing. This one, this was the end off of the other 2 plates. I moved it down, so I got my circle, the biggest circle out of it I could, and moved it to one end. And this is the end off of one, the end off the other. And I grabbed a piece of walnut, glued them up, came out the next day, turned me another plate. So I used scrap to make, come up with an extra plate. So, and again, abrasive paste, wax. I hope these might get used at some point. If they do, what shine is there is going to dull down. But if they want to keep it shiny, a little paste wax, and they'll be right back in business. So, and if they don't care about it, they'll turn brown and be used and happy eating.
And somebody's grandkids will eventually eat off of them. So great.
Could be,
Nice.
or they get tired of it, they throw it in the fireplace and that's the end of that.
Very
So,
nice, Doug.
thank you guys.
Right on.
All
Thanks.
right,
Doug.
that's that.
All right. Well, it's top of the hour, folks. So
Save
this is
chat.
the official demarcation point of the official meeting. I will keep things open for the after hours for us to sit around, shoot the shit, and get to know each other. Great meeting, I think. Great stuff Matt that showed tonight. Really learned a lot from him. And a lot of good show and tell tonight for a change. We've been lacking in past few meetings, so it was good to see folks, some new people showing off their stuff. And then before everybody goes, for the next issue of our newsletter, we need somebody to do a then and now of their progression through turning. You know, pick an item that you done back when you first started, and then pick an item and contrast it. You know, identify what you did wrong, what you don't like about it, whatever, and write it up, include a few pictures, and send it off to Joaquin so we can put it in the newsletter. I think this is a great confidence builder for new turners, also for experienced turners. To see that somebody can be self-critical of themselves, and not be so hung up on their work. It's how we learn, and it's a good addendum to the newsletter. So I'd love to see somebody new do it. Got 2 weeks.